The case study that we selected for our case analysis is William Robertson, Exemplar of Politics and Public Management. This presentation will be brought to you by none other than team administrators. Our presentation is broken down into 4 sections, beginning with our overview brought to you by Lauren. The details of our case study we've broken down into 2 sections and will be presented by myself, Karen, Nicholas doing our second part, and then our conclusion being brought by Rachel.
Public administration is the field of service that maintains a civil society and it provides for the needs of the public. Public administrators are public servants working in public departments and agencies at all levels of government. Ecology pertains to the interrelationship of living organisms and their environment. In Gauss's theory of public administration, it's the relationship between citizens and their government policies. Public administration revolves around pillars, and Robertson's type of leadership was important to keeping that public trust. By leading by example, Robertson developed relationships through engaging employees, something that a lot of leaders fail to do. He became a buffer for stakeholders and elected leadership when it came to the issues of too much government control, too much regulation, and the lack of effective leadership.
Now, as far as the details of our case study, this first section of our case study had to do with identifying who the stakeholders were and what some of the key problems were. The stakeholders, we identified citizens, politicians, other managers, even other agencies. Now, obviously, when you're in leadership, you're always going to deal with a lot of challenges. Now, in the case, we identified that there were explicit demands being made by the stakeholders. There are also other issues, such as, an ongoing power struggle that was going on between government and the citizens. And then you also had goals that Roberson had set as an administrator, that he wanted to have more interaction with his subordinates. And also in dealing with other agencies, he wanted to have working partnerships with other managers, even across divided jurisdictions. Now, our goal in identifying these areas was to consider if there were other alternative solutions, but also in identifying these key areas, these problems, we were able to reference them as in regards to the concepts of the ecological factors, and then illustrate how they affected administration and practice.
Two of the issues that I immediately identified after reviewing this case study was the regulation and control that was being implemented by the city council and the lack of proper leadership that was being displayed by department heads within the city of LA. Robertson quickly established himself as a reliable and dependable leader within the organization. And he did this in part by utilizing the leadership that he gained in the Marine Corps. Keeping morale up, and one of the things that I admired was the fact that he got down with his employees on the ground, was shoveling mud, was cold and wet and dirty, just like his employees were. But as an employee, you look over and you see your boss doing the same job you're doing, even though you're miserable. You come to have a newfound respect for that person and create a loyalty towards that person. So this goes to help with the morale and employee retention within the agency. Not only did Robertson run his department efficiently and effective, he was also transparent at the same time. He wasn't asking for permission so much, but make command decisions to get things done that needed to be done within the city that couldn't be waiting around for a city council approval to do. And this was evidenced by the trees that were going to fall down after the rains that were creating a danger to the public and property. And the Recreations and Parks Director asked for help from Robertson and his crew, and Robertson was able to not only allocate resources towards this, but solve the problem that didn't need to be thought about by a city council. If a city were to allow leadership styles such as those of Robertson to be implemented in any department or organization within that city, I think there'd be much less strife or discontent between employees and city council, because not only do you have a leader that is somebody that you want to follow and you want to work for, but you also have a leader that's willing to go out and get things done without asking for permission. And that's the type of leader that I would want to be around. That's the type of leader that I feel like I want to be once I start to promote within my organization, while remaining transparent and legitimate by not bending any rules or breaking policies that the organization might have in place. Robertson was efficient, Robertson was effective, and I think that if cities were to allow leaders such as Robertson to lead, then there would be much less discontent with the citizens as well, thinking that their government's not working for them and it's only a job where people go to get paid. I think these are important pillars within leadership and public administration, and show that Robertson was the type of leader that other department heads need to implement.
Overall, we came to the conclusion that effective and efficient leadership is an important skill for any agency to prosper. William Robertson is an exemplar of politic and public administration because of the compassion that he has for his community and his stakeholders and his staff. His experience through the military has given him valuable skills that has really pushed him to excel as a leader, because he understands the value of partnership and hard work and what it means to lead by example. Robertson went out of his way to reach out to the community, to stakeholders, to staff, to almost every agency that he knew he had to work with in order to have a successful career and in order to offer successful services for the community. And he listened to the community, he found out what they needed, and he worked with them and made them feel like they had a say-so in the matter as well. And I think that partnership is what really set him aside, because it's one thing to say this is how we're going to do this, but it's something else to approach it where let's work together. You have issues, we have potential solutions. So how can we work together to make this work? And I think a lot of management should consider that point of view when it comes to many aspects of public service. A lot of times if we sit down and really analyze the situation in all points of views as he did, you can really make the differences as Robertson did, because it's a partnership. It really is. A partnership can help build community, and it just excels from there. It builds upon each other, and I really feel like it starts with very positive, strong leadership, and without that, you don't have a foundation to start on. Leadership is that foundation, and Robertson is that example.